Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bommer and Griffin. As I've often said, if you're listening to this podcast, you're having the worst day of your life.
That was a really good one. I really like that. Oh, that was great. That's very fitting as well.
Uh, Unfortunately, we missed last week's podcast because Blake fucked up the
I
audio.
It wasn't deliberate, all right? Yeah, we're going to pretend like we didn't just miss a week. Um so we did do a second one on or a follow up to Kill Bill, doing the second part of Kill Bill. Unfortunately, audio problems meant that it was unusable, and we can't just we couldn't be asked re-recording it. And I feel like it'd be easier to just summarize exactly what we thought of it in a couple of minutes, and that's that. It's great. I mean, basically how we thought about the first one is exactly how we feel about the second one. They're both extremely well done, and that's Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Showing you that these hour-long videos could really be condensed into about 30 seconds, but we really just drone on for money. So, yeah, welcome everybody. We're talking about Nightcrawler today. Nightcrawler is a movie I absolutely love. I really,
Yeah.
really love this movie. Yeah. And it was your first viewing last night. I hope you enjoyed
Yes.
it.
I did enjoy it.
You did enjoy it? I feel like this movie was made for me. Like, it's it fits into the category of literally me movies, which I'm pretty sure you understand. But in case anyone out there doesn't, literally me movies are how would you define them?
They're essentially movies about lonely white guys.
Yeah, and every angsty teenage white guy goes, "Hey, that's literally me," and that could be Tyler Durden from Fight Club, or Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. And the way that these characters,
Kind of funny. I feel like everyone says that Patrick Bateman is like a literally me character, but I don't really think that's the case.
no, because we're not
He's
all
not
rich.
really a literally me character. Like Travis Bickle
Yeah,
is a strong literally me character.
yeah.
Drive.
I need
Um,
to see Drive. I
you
actually,
need to watch Drive. It's really
I know,
good.
I really do. I feel like I'd
Um,
love it.
that's a strong literally me movie.
Yeah.
Um, Breaking Bad.
um. Yeah,
Bryan
I
Cranston is literally
suppose
me.
so. But these are mostly movies. Um.
Yeah.
I suppose he would
Um,
fit into the category.
yeah, he's like a literally me Sigma male.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole Sigma male thing goes along with it. Well,
Oh yeah, the Nightcrawler is a strong Sigma male
it
story.
it
One of the best, honestly.
yeah,
Uh,
it
we'll talk
definitely
about
fits
that.
into the literally me category, and I think it personally resonates with me much more than some of the other literally me characters, because I'm not as cool as Tyler Durden as much as I'd like to be, and I'm nowhere near as wealthy as Patrick Bateman. But the idea of this guy that has a very strong work ethic, and the only power he's been given is a camera in his hand and his words, and is
Mm.
just doing as much as he possibly can. I mean, it always reminds me of what I'm doing on a much lower scale, but I'm I'm just a guy using my words on YouTube, and through YouTube I've got a camera and I'm just making videos. And the way that he catalogs videos and titles them, it's something that I do all the time, that I don't ever bring up or talk about. I just do it in my own space. It just, I don't know, it really clicks with me. Um,
You just catalog every time you've been on the news.
yeah, dude. Every time a mass murderer gets away with it again, you know. Damn it! I was gonna start talking about Wolf Creek for a second, but you haven't seen any of the show, I don't think.
Yeah, no, don't get into that.
All right, all right. Um, I love everything about this. The whole aesthetic, the fact that the movie is almost exclusively at night. I watched it, like midnight last night. And it really adds to the, I don't know, the energy that the film brings. It's very bleak, and Lou Bloom looks like a guy with very gaunt eyes that's just awake all night and doesn't sleep. Um, bit of the vibes that you get from the start of Fight Club. And I feel like this is really a more modern version of the literally me character. You know,
Mm.
I feel like the movie's quite overlooked. Like it's
There were
loved, but
actually two surprising things. I didn't realize how recently this film came out. It's 2014.
yeah,
And I also didn't realize it wasn't about the X-Man Nightcrawler.
yeah.
Because I thought for a while I thought it was about the Blue Monkey Man.
Yeah. Blue monkey. Yeah, I didn't know you didn't know that much. I thought you at least knew, Jake Gyllenhaal guy driving around kind of thing.
Nah, I didn't even know like the basic premise that he's like a cameraman
Yeah, right.
until I read the description on like Stan.
Yeah, shit. Well, yeah, I knew about it through other film critics at the time, all the way back in 2014. I went, oh yeah, that sounds good. But then over the years, I began to find a real love and appreciation for this movie that I didn't exactly have the first time around. First time around, I just said that's a good movie, and then it, as you become older and you get in your late teens, it starts to resonate a bit more. Um, but yeah, I feel like it's a more modern version. Like it's loved now, but it's not loved like American Psycho and Fight Club are loved. And I feel like the more our current generation, which is just entirely focused on the internet, YouTube, TikTok, constantly filming everything all the time, I feel like this movie's going to have a real kickback all of a sudden in another decade's time and go, yeah, this is what our generation 10 years from now is going to be like. And just, I mean, it already happens now, but this film really takes it to an extreme. Um,
Yeah. I
I feel like I should spoiler warning.
Yeah, we gotta get
Uh,
over that one
But yeah,
soon.
if you like Fight Club and American Psycho and those genre movies, literally
Yeah,
me
if
characters,
Tyler Durden is literally you, then you'll love this movie.
yep,
Um,
pretty much. So go check it out if you haven't. Otherwise, we're gonna
wait,
just dive in. Yeah.
Tyler Durden isn't really the literally me
No, he's
character.
too cool for everybody. No
The
one's that.
protagonist is the literally me
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
character.
Um, yeah, it's like just a darker portrayal of the things that happen in real life, and I think it's begging to become a cult film over the next few years.
Yeah, I reckon that might kick off sooner or later.
Yeah. So, have you seen Jake Gyllenhaal in anything before?
I've seen Donnie Darko.
Yeah, because I've seen him in heaps of things. There's a beautiful movie. I think it's called Guilty. That's on Netflix with him.
Haven't seen it.
It's fantastic. It really went under the radar, but my god, it's amazing. He was also Mysterio in Spider-Man: Far From Home.
But I didn't watch that
Yeah, you lucky bastard.
one.
And a lot of people just seen that and went, oh, okay, I guess he's just kind of another Marvel villain. But you watch something like this, and it's telling how good of an actor he is. If you'd taken basically that performance, you could have gotten an amazing, almost like Dark Knight level of villain in one of those Spider-Man movies. But they just dumb it down as they do because it's the MCU and it has to all be loving and happy and sunshine and rainbows. Yeah, this was one of the first things I saw him in, and it really, a bit like with Miles Teller in Whiplash, it was the first time I'd seen Miles Teller in a movie, and it just set the bar of, okay, this person can act. They're really selling me that they are this character and that this character exists. And there's so many subtle nuances in this performance. I think he absolutely kills it in this movie.
Oh yeah, no, he was brilliant. And his
Yeah.
Luke Bloom.
So you messaged briefly over text that you hate the way this guy speaks.
I watched there's a YouTuber I watch called The Vile Eye, and he makes videos about like villains in movies and TV shows.
Yep.
And I knew he'd made one about Lou Bloom from Nightcrawler, so I pretty much watched it as soon as I watched the movie. And something that guy says is that Lou Bloom is like an alien that learned how to be human by watching corporate training tapes.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's a perfect description for the way he speaks. Like the job interview, or it's not a job interview, but when he's trying to get a job start,
Yeah,
all the things he says is like fucking dot point what
yeah,
to say in a job interview.
yeah. It's so deliberate and on point. A lot of it was the direction from Dan Gilroy. This was his directorial debut, the first movie he's ever made. He wrote the movie as well, and uh, like the scene when he's being the most Sigma male possible, and he giving his demands for the tape for like the triple murder to Nina. You know that I want don't just want this. I want this. I want to meet the anchors and all that crap. That beautiful scene.
I see. I want it.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. God, it was good. Dan, the director, he was like, um, basically say all these lines as if you're proposing, like that. Give it that kind of energy. And some of that direction, alongside the fact that Jake memorized the entire script beat for beat, inside and out, and just knew it like the back of his hand. So that when you had those scenes like the job interview or whatever you'd want to call it at the start, and every scene later on, he just knows
I mean,
it
there's
so
the
well.
actual job interview when he meets Rick.
Yeah, yes, there is.
He's doing the same type of shit.
Yeah, but knowing that he's memorized it to a T really has helped that performance make everything like that Lou is saying so deliberate and so calculated. Like he's said that line a million times, and now he's explaining it again because he is getting a little bit frustrated, and he's just saying it so clearly. It's a bit hard to explain, but it really gives layers to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I could say I was all high and mighty, but this character really does resonate with me.
Yeah.
It's just his collectiveness in any situation, despite how hairy things can get. He's always trying to be very literal, and that's kind of like in my DNA how I deal with everyday situations. If I'm at work or something like that, and someone's losing their shit or going off, I'm able to just keep.
Is that
my cool
also
and,
what it looks like when you're on a date with a woman?
in what
The same
sense?
way, the same way he goes on a date. Is that what it's like?
No,
with you?
no. That's the exception. I just mean in when he's working with Rick for the first time, and Rick's like, "Well, maybe if you didn't rush me, man." He's like, "Okay, don't come to me with a problem. Come to me with a solution, and then I've got something to work with, and then we can, you know." And then he breaks down, you know, how teamwork is the most effective way to get shit done. I think like that. Like my brain just works like that, and
Do you talk like that?
I think I do sometimes. I think I do.
I wouldn't want to work with you.
I'm like, we're cutting the emotion and we're just going straight to what we have to do to get it done the most efficient and easy way possible, where there's just no bullshit. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of like that at work too.
But I'm just
But
like that with
I don't talk in a way completely devoid of humanity.
I am devoid of humanity and I fake having humanity. That's how I work. I think like that, but at work I talk how you would, you know, I don't feel like I'm natural. I talk in a way that's projecting what is expected of you. You know, when you go to work and you smile and you wave at everybody every day and just feed a persona of what everyone's idea of what you should be like and the ideal person but even when I'm doing that, I'm thinking of it in a more calculated way, the exact things to say to make me appear that way. We're getting deep in this shit. Right, 15 minutes in or so. Oh, well, this will probably be cut down a bit, but yeah, there's an extreme level of this that resonates so well with me that I come back to it and I'm like, yes. Yes, man's getting shit done and his business is about to be booming.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, this is a real success story.
I love that he gets a happy ending.
Yeah.
Like it's not a good thing, but for him as a character, he has won.
He gets like the whole huge like business that he was offered to be like an employee of about halfway through, and then he's at the top
Yeah,
at the end.
he's definitely got some mental
And that
problems.
other nurse crew, they had it coming.
Oh,
Fuck those guys.
yeah, yeah. I just love that it was like three different stories all bouncing off one another that fed into one another. All of a sudden, he's not getting like he's pressured his way into getting sex, but then
Sigma.
yeah, no, no. But when all of a sudden he can't get the footage that he's promised, you know what I mean, and she's flipping it at him because of that, that feeds into now I'm really desperate to make sure that I did exactly what I said I was going to do and absolutely smash it, and then gets the triple murders and stuff like that on camera.
Yeah.
Like that feeds into the next thing, and then that feeds into his relationship with Rick, and then that also bounces back. They all compounds, and it's very, very satisfying to watch.
The scene where he's like filming the triple murder is like that is really like had me really fucking on edge. The
Yeah,
whole scene. I was like, fuck. Like, are the cops like? Because the cops are going to show up at some point.
yeah,
I was like, fuck, is he gonna like get caught snooping around this house, or is like he could? I was like, I figured like, is he gonna get shot at some point trying to
yeah,
do this?
yeah. How
Like,
how early can
especially
you
at
get to
the
the
end,
crime scene?
towards the end,
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, he's, and then it's not him that gets shot.
yeah,
uh, but like I thought like when he walks up to the car, he was gonna get shot, and then he yells out that the guy's dead, and I was like, oh, all right, no worries. Uh, have another handful of popcorn, and then Rick comes over and fucking gets iced immediately.
yeah.
Then Lou reveals that he had actually planned that for Rick to die.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it really
Mm.
plays with the morals of
Rick has his heartbreaking moment where he says, "Oh my God, Lou, you were the Nightcrawler all along."
it. Yeah,
And then
and
he
then
dies.
the title Nightcrawler comes up on the screen, and I
Yeah.
just fucking clap, bro. I am in tears. um, yeah, I love the in terms of like the tension and intensity you're talking about when they were filming in the house.
Yeah.
The cinematographer Robert, he's Jake Gyllenhaal's godfather. First off, um,
I was expecting Jake Gyllenhaal to just be the cinematographer to just really get into the role.
no, he's not. He's not like Edward Norton. He's just gonna take over the entire project. But I love the cinematography in this film. Like whenever the movie is still, it's beautiful. From when he's like sitting on top of his car, and you just get those wide shots, or when like when he's sitting up there listening to police scanners, or when it's just wandering around the news station and you see the city backdrops that are fake, but like it's very pretty. But then as soon as it's intense and shit gets real, like any car chase or nothing, like at the end, the cinematography is heart pounding. Like I am on edge. It's not just the cinematography; it's the pacing, it's the music. You know, I every time that Lou Bloom kicks that Hellcat car in gear and like floors it, like
Oh yeah, his
adrenaline.
car is sweet as.
I fucking love it, dude, because it's like it could be any pretty tame movie to begin with. Because when you have like zero expectations of it, like I did the first time going in, it was amazing. I was just invested enough in this weird guy and what he was up to. So as soon as he gets a fucking kick-ass car, all of a sudden, it's like how Breaking Bad ramped up. And it's like, fuck yeah, this is getting well beyond what it started with. But yeah, anytime he's kicking that Hellcat in, like punching the pedal, man, and you watch that dial go up, my blood is pumping, man. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And yeah, in particular that the cinematography.
Kind of funny. That car seems to be like the only luxury he has at all. Because with all the like money he gets, he doesn't really upgrade his living situation.
No. Well, it's all about reinvesting in the business, and
Mm.
you do need something faster to get you from A to B
Yeah.
filming stuff. And I guess that was the one thing you took a couple creative liberties with, like, oh, I want it in red. I want a fucking fast car, cunt.
Yeah. It's like red and black, right? It's like my GTA car.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Yours is a skyline, but
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I just mean like the pattern.
yeah. So it's amazing. Like even that car chase at the end when it's almost like a dash cam the way that the camera is following that
Hmm.
cop car. It's so intense. The cop car gets T-boned and everything. It's fantastic.
But like, there's, I mean, if you're talking about, are you talking about like cinematography and stuff?
Yeah,
Or
pacing, just all of it, man, in tandem. It
yeah,
just
no,
is
the
beautiful.
scene right before the car chase when him and Rick are like filming the diner
Yeah,
and the cops are like slowly going it like they're going in two at a time.
yeah,
Just shows how like guys like pulling a gun and it's the build up until like the fucking shooting just starts
yeah.
out of nowhere. Well, it's not really out of nowhere because you can see it coming.
I know, but
It like kicks off immediately,
yeah,
and like six people are down in 2 seconds.
I know. That's why again, I just wanted to give it to the cinematography because I know it's a lot of things happening, but those cameras and stuff, we're never in the diner. We're always just watching it, and
Hmm.
you know what's coming, and it's that wait, and you're just waiting, just like they are as Nightcrawlers, just filming and filming, and you're waiting, and you're like, shit's getting real. More cops show up, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
It's great. But
I'm surprised he never gets a speeding ticket at any point.
no, he
Um,
talks about it's like a dodgy neighborhood or something. Like people are dying here all the time. No one cares if you speed. Then he's breaking down now like fierce false evidence appearing real. Shit. He's like going really fast. Um, so Dan Gilroy he came up with the idea for this film after he heard about a crime reporter in the 1930s who was the first to put a police scanner in his car and take photos of crime scenes and accident scenes and then sell them to papers. And he thought it was a pretty interesting, idea or like intersection between like commerce and crime. But before he could do anything with it, he heard about a movie called The Public Eye, which effectively killed that specific idea, where it had already been done, and he moved on from it until he learned about present day Nightcrawlers, and then that became the basis of the story. Uh, instead of newspapers, it's proper film footage for TV studios, and yeah, it was enough to spark it. But he wrote and directed everything, um, and I think he nailed it. Directorial debut, fucking A
yeah,
tier. Um,
doesn't get much better than this on the first try.
no, I don't think so. I'd be just beyond proud of myself if I'd turned in something like this. Uh, I have it here. The film it was entirely shot over 28 nights. That was it. So it's another one of those great movies that just took bugger all to film. I'd say bugger all, but compared to other movie shoots that could be 6 months and stuff like that, a single month is pretty tight knit. Um, there was so much that went into this. Jake Gyllenhaal himself, he lost 20 pounds for the role. Um,
Hmm.
and it was Jake's own idea. He didn't have to do it, but he very much visualized Lou as like a hungry coyote, like just very gaunt and like constantly hungry for work and perfection and stuff like that. Uh, the scene where he smashes the mirror, man just goes off and loses his shit. I
Yeah,
love it.
he cut his hand, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So he got so into it, he was improvising a lot, and the mirror broke, which I don't think it was supposed to. But he cut his
Looks
hand.
like he was
He
supposed to.
um what was it? Dan himself drove him to the hospital,
Oh,
and after a 19-hour day of working, he got 46 stitches in a 4-hour long operation. uh,
sweet. So it was actually pretty fucking grisly.
yeah, he
Oh,
really cut himself up. Um, but he returned to the set 6 hours later after being discharged, and it's the reason that Gyllenhaal has his hand behind his back in the scene where he's telling the scrapyard owner his fucking motto about if you want to win a lottery you gotta earn the money to buy a ticket. the interview at the very start.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's holding his hand behind his back the whole time, hiding the fact that he's got bandages all over it. Jake and Riz, who played Rick, they rode along with actual Nightcrawlers in LA to prepare for the roles, just to see what these nights were like.
Wow.
Which I thought was really cool. You know, that extra step, it goes a long way. Apparently, Jake worked out up to 8 hours a day and ran or cycled every day to set to try and get that gaunt appearance. That's just so much. He shouldn't need to work out 8 hours a day. That's just crazy. But apparently he worked up to 8 hours a day. I don't think it was an everyday thing. Now, originally, Dan considered a backstory for Lou that would explain how he became very immoral and damaged as a human being.
I think this opening scene where the film just opens on him just stealing scrap metal,
Yeah.
and I feel like that gives him all the setup you really need. Like, this is a guy who's willing to just like steal or whatever to
Yeah.
earn a buck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then he finds the least moral legal way of making money, which is working for the news.
Yep. But
And then
yeah, there was an idea for a backstory, and it was ultimately cut, as you well know, because they didn't want to spend a lot of time on Lou's origin and make him sympathetic at all. They wanted to just, nope, we don't need that. We just need to have a guy, and he's a force to be reckoned with. Several actors auditioned for the role of Rick. While most of them played him as like a laid-back surfer dude, Dan really loved how Riz he played him just far sadder as a human being. Just instead of being so cool and laid back, he's like, "Oh no, I need money. I'm homeless."
yeah, I loved Rick. I like halfway through the movie, I was like, "Fuck, poor Rick." Cause I've like the scene where he's like all the scenes where he's just being dragged by the fucking balls
Yeah.
in like 240 miles per hour, like rushes to get to these scenes and shit,
Yeah.
trying to navigate.
I don't know, man. I'm really on Lou's side. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't want to do it, Rick, you don't ever have to be here. And if you want to be here, I'll give you a raise. I'll give you as much money as you want. Pick a number. I could have gotten more. You could have gotten a lot more.
Yeah. She's like 75. And then Lou's just like, yes, done.
He's like, deal. And then he's, oh, I could have gotten a lot more, couldn't I? Yes, you had. You know, and from there he's like, oh, well, I'll... Because, you know, Lou's like, it's the critical point. Okay, he agrees for the raise and all that stuff, and then finds out about the reward, which Lou didn't have to tell him about, but told him about it anyway, and then said, yep. He tried to negotiate a meaningful price, but no, the only thing that Rick would take is 50-50. Okay, he still ran along with it, even though that's kind of unfair considering Jake's, probably paying for gas and he's doing all this stuff.
Yeah, I feel like the actual 50-50 split wasn't as fair as Rick made it sound. Because Rick was not... Like, Rick's perspective is like, oh, all the business expenses, they just come out of Lou's end. Fuck it,
Yeah, but if you
It's
take like that and how that's happened, and then, okay, it's 50-50. Lou's very literal. He's going to swallow it. Okay, whatever.
If I were in Rick's position, I wouldn't even have the ball stars for 50-50. I'd be like, like $5,000 as a bonus.
I would kind of get it. Like, if you're there and you're like, fuck, this could be people's lives and I could be indicted for something like this, knowing I want to make sure I'm covered. And then not only does he, like, argue for the 50-50. He basically threatens Lou and like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the police would want to hear about it. And like threatening your employer, it's not a good look. um, but even then,
Yeah.
he gets 50-50. All right, Lou swallows it. He's very literal. Okay, that is the
Lou
deal.
isn't
You
very
get
subtle when he threatens people in this film.
no. Um,
Because he's like, oh, I might resort to like physically hurting you.
yeah. Well, that's I was gonna get to that because like, okay, he's had the pay raise, and bonuses come at Christmas, so get fucked. 50-50, you're gonna get 25 grand because you're agreeing to do this now. All right, you've battled your way and threatened to tell
Rick
people.
doesn't get fuck all though.
I know he gets fuck all to begin with, but say he's got the
I mean, in the end, he
25,000.
gets fuck all.
Oh, I know that. But
Yeah.
even up to that point, the deal's agreed upon. Okay, he's going to get 25 grand for doing this work. So they get there to the diner. It's the critical point, like John said. And he's like, no, I'm not getting out of the car. I'm not going over there and filming it. It's like, are you serious? As an employer, you're pushing me again. That's why at the ending, I get it. I understand. He's like, no, you would have just done this again. And that's why I had to make sure you died. And he's looking at him like, what? And he's like, yeah, admit it. You would. I know you would. And he's right. It's sick.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see where he's coming from. But I'm also able to empathize.
Yeah.
Which you may not.
I used to be able to, but I empathize less and less. I'm losing my humanity, man. It's getting bad.
Yeah, no, I can empathize with having a shitty boss.
Yeah. Some other things.
But then he becomes like a great boss, and everyone loves him at the end. Oh,
yeah.
I love when he says, "I would never ask you
Yeah.
to do anything I wouldn't do," and like hearing it from anybody else, that'd be like, "Yeah, okay." But it's like we've seen this guy will do anything.
Yeah.
So that like him saying that means nothing.
Oh, I know. I love that line so much.
And it's the last line of the film because then they just like drive off.
Yeah,
stop.
that whole last scene with the vans heading out was supposed to symbolize how Lou is like a virus, and that's the virus spreading out through like veins in the fucking body of the city, and it's not supposed to be healthy. And you were talking about Drive earlier. The Rick's interview for his job with Lou, that diner that there is the same diner that they used in Drive for the protagonist's love interest in Drive. I haven't seen it, but maybe you.
No, I
recognised
recognize it. I remember the scene you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the same one. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is cool.
So the coyote theme of this movie, like how Jake wanted to kind of channel that, and Dan talked about it a bit as well. It became so strong of a theme that it was almost considered as an alternate title to what this is going to be called. I don't have the alternate title because it just didn't come to be, but they were going to call it something like that originally. There's a scene where Rick he's unfamiliar with Bed Bath and Beyond, like the company or whatever, and he pronounced it really oddly at the red light stop. Straight after the take, someone corrected him, like, no, you'd say it like this. And every take they did after that the right way, it wasn't nearly as good, so they stuck with the first take. This for Jake, I don't know how. It failed to receive any Academy Award nominations of any sort. Critics, audiences, major film groups, and publications considered this all a major snub because he is like one of only 8 actors that this has happened to.
But what even was the competition for awards like that in 2014? Literally no other movies came out.
Whiplash.
But that didn't get any Oscars either, did it? No, wait.
I think J.K.
no,
Simmons
J.K.
did.
Simmons actually did get it.
Yeah, but I think that was supporting actor. There was
Oh
another
yeah,
movie in
it
2014
would
that
have been a
actually
different
won everything.
category.
Whiplash is known as the movie that got second. Um, can't remember what the first one was, but yeah, I think it is a major snub. The man killed it, absolutely killed it. You
Oh
watch him
yeah,
as like
no, this
Mysterio
definitely.
in the MCU and the Spider-Man movies, and he's unrecognizable. It's like this is not Lou Bloom. This is crazy. Um,
Yeah, no, Donnie Darko came out like 99, I think. No,
yeah,
like, it was a 2000 something.
I
Maybe
don't
even
know.
actually 2000. It was around early 2000s, maybe 3 or 4. Um, and I knew that that was also Jake Gyllenhaal, but he's so much younger in that film. I actually didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, right.
It's like the I was. It's just like the general face structure because he's a lot. Um, he's not like fat, but he's like thicker
Yeah,
in Donnie Darko because he hasn't lost all the weight.
yeah, yeah.
He looks like a healthy person.
Oh man, I know this is a little off topic, but honestly, I would love to see him as Batman. I
Was
think
he ever
I mean,
considered
there's
Batman?
been rumors of things like that before, but he is such a powerhouse of an actor. Like fuck me, he could definitely. There's a beautiful movie he done called Southpaw. It's a boxing movie. Fucking incredible physique, like unbelievable. He does shit like Christian Bale, where like he'll get extremely fit and extremely gaunt and just change himself to really get into a role. And I don't know, I feel like as Batman, he would kill it. He fits the right type for millionaire weirdo, like
Yeah.
we've seen in the previous Batman movies. Um, but yeah, it sucks that he failed to receive any nominations for this. But anyway, other things
Just
on this
further proof that the Oscars are
a complete
complete
scam.
wank.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Um, the music cues in this movie, they're supposed to represent music cues in Lou's head. Like anytime a certain song or sound plays, that's an idea in Lou's head or him thinking. Um, which I didn't know about until after this. This was your good old IMDb for that one.
Hmm.
um, there was uh, a statement. Sorry, there was a statement from the editor John that I thought was really really cool. He pointed out that this was like an amazing experience to edit because he'd never been involved with anything where the character came from nowhere. There's no backstory, He just starts and then it gets to a point where it ends and you never know shit. Um, when Dan first wrote the script and he met with Jake Gyllenhaal, um, he asked how Jake sees the character, um, and trying to find the right actor to kind of fit this role, and they he said, "I see it as a success story," and they both burst out laughing apparently because they agreed 100%. They both loved the idea of eliminating any of the classic moral labels that would typically define a character in a movie. He's just this and that's it. They like the idea that he's not like a better person by the end of the movie. Like how you said, that at the very start they establish what kind of guy he is. He's stealing, and then he steals a rollie, I think. Um, uh,
Oh yeah, I like how he's wearing the stolen Rolex out of prison.
yeah, yeah. No, he doesn't take that off, which I love. Uh,
Kind of funny because if it, I guess maybe selling that's a bit more of a risk than selling scrap metal.
I think he just wanted it, man. He's
Yeah.
like, I ain't selling this. This is mine. Um, the plant that he waters in the film over and over. Originally, it was a dog in the script, which was
And he
meant
watered
to.
the dog.
No, yeah, of course. Um, it was meant to keep Lou from being too unlikable, but they switched it as apparently the dog just kept getting in the way. Of,
Lou seems more like the guy who would type of guy who would own a cat rather than a dog.
yeah, I think so. I feel like it would make
I
it a little John Wickish as well, which
I feel like
there's
nah,
enough of
but
that.
it's like imagining him like sitting in his apartment with a cat running or like with a dog running around compared to like a cat just sitting there.
Yeah, yeah, right.
The idea of him having a cat sounds a lot more. Well, maybe it's just because I have my cat sitting right next to me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I can relate to that, but I it just seems more like he
yeah,
would
yeah. We'll never know. Um,
yeah.
fun, not so fun story. Uh, the climax of this film. It was filmed on Laurel Canyon Boulevard in San Fernando Valley. Now, why that's interesting is because it's only a couple of blocks away from the location of a shootout that happened in 1997 between two heavily armed bank robbers and police, in which both robbers were killed.
I know that one.
Wait, you
Wendy
do?
June made a like an hour and a half long video about that.
Oh, well, what do you know? I guess.
It's actually quite a funny story.
I know, it's a fun, not so fun story.
Oh yeah, no. That there's actually there's a little fun fact.
Yeah.
The cops were so underarmed to deal with the bank robbers because they were basically coming out like modern day Ned Kellys,
Yeah.
with like armor and shit. The cops could not actually like do anything to them, so they had to go to a gun store and like what do you call it? Commandeer a bunch of guns.
Yeah.
And the gun store owner complied.
Yeah.
And then that gun store owner was later like, I don't think he was like arrested, but he was like charged because the cops didn't show any proof that they were cops,
Yeah, right.
and he gave them all the guns they asked for.
Oh no. Oh, that's crazy.
It's like, damn, Paul
Um
shows him for helping the police.
Yeah, goddamn, you think they would have helped make an exception and made sure he wasn't in any shit for that. Um Shit. Alright, well I got another fun story. This one actually is fun. Someone wasn't prosecuted or killed. Uh During the production,
I mean, yeah, that bank robbery, the only two actual deaths were the bank robbers themselves, so it's not really that big a deal.
yeah. During the production of the movie, Rick is his real name.
Yeah,
And Jake, they would go without sleeping and binge junk food to help stay in character. And during one of all these all-nighters, Riz introduced Jake to Angel Delight, a classic British dessert. And Jake enjoyed it so much, he requested it to be added to the options provided by catering for like the remainder of the fucking shoot. It's like this. Angel Delight, man, I need.
what is it? I have to Google that now.
Yeah, go take a look at it. The newsroom stuff, at least the early ones, they were actually filmed. What's that?
They sell Angel Delight at Coles, apparently.
We gotta go to Coles, man. We gotta get this stuff sorted. Apparently, the early newsroom scenes were filmed actually at like LA's studios for where they film news, KTLA studios, and they were quoted as saying, the crew, they were going to kick us out if a big story broke, so we had to get in and film our scenes and get out.
Angel Delight is like a custard thing.
He's still on the Angel Delight. There's another detail I seen in this one. I wrote this down myself. Jake, he introduces himself to the detectives as Lou, but earlier in the movie he corrects Rick for calling him Lou and says it's Lewis. So he uses Lou with detectives to seem more laid back and approachable, and Lewis with his assistants to appear like authoritative.
Yeah.
And it's just another layer of mind games that this guy plays. He's over like calculating every word that he's saying,
Mm.
and I overthink everything I do, so it resonates. um,
I'm the kind of person who chooses my words very
yeah, uh,
specifically.
yeah, I'm like that too. I mean, well, we're working in the world of YouTube, and you say one wrong thing and you're cancelled. We're gonna really test that this weekend, how far we can go. Something for you guys to watch later on.
Well, that will have actually been filmed the day before this goes up.
Yes, it will be. Yeah, yeah, right now, as you're listening to this, we're probably hungover as fuck.
I don't get hangovers.
Oh, we're gonna this time. Um,
Probably not.
anyway, the line, you have to make the money to buy a ticket at the start. It only appears once in the movie, but apparently Gyllenhaal insisted on recording it in every set in different styles because he knew it would work well in the trailer, and so it was cut together in the trailer everywhere. Um, Nina in this movie, she's played by Renee Russo. That's actually Dan's wife. And that's who he wrote the part for, and so that worked out really well. This movie is so good on repeat viewings. Uh, just little things like when the home invasion scenes filmed, the triple murder, and Lou enters the nursery home, and you're like, oh my god, is there a dead baby? There's no baby anywhere. So, like, the closer you look, the worse it gets. Like, where's the baby? Your mind starts running a little more each time you see it, and you're able to think on it a bit more. I mean, it's how I feel with
The
all
scene
these.
where it's showing the like news commentators, talking heads,
Yeah.
talking like over the footage, I was like, oh my fucking god, I hate these people. I hate the news.
Oh, yeah, it's.
Like the commentary is so like vapid and completely adding nothing
Yeah.
to the footage. It's like they're actually React YouTubers.
Yeah, pretty much. Just sit there, say nothing. I mean, that's why I stopped with React content. One, I'm stealing, and it's not good in any form or fashion.
Your
Two,
React content was the most bland shit in the world.
I know,
You
but
actually...
when I watch shit, because I had people request me do it, so I did it, and it's like, guys, I don't react viscerally. I tried to talk a bit, but I'm trying to watch and listen to what I'm being shown.
You're the most stoic fucking reactor I've actually ever seen.
I'm pretty impressive, man.
Everyone was talking about that guy like Jinx. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was making
Yeah, they got nothing on me, man. I just stare.
Yeah.
Not even at the footage, just into the barrel of the camera. I'm reacting to you for 3 minutes. So, there's a commentary track for this film that Dan did, and most filmmakers stay through the credits and continue talking to thank the people that's listed or wrap up their thoughts. But no, Dan, he couldn't wait to end the commentary. He wraps it up so quickly, like as soon as the credits start, he's out. He's gone. So back on that starting scene, I feel like I'm repeating myself a bit, but they wanted to portray Lou as a certain kind of person. That's why they had the initial scene where Lou assaults a security guard, because yeah, they wanted. It was important that the audience not feel that Lou became a worse person because of his work as a Nightcrawler, but instead he have him be recognized that he's been malevolent from the start, instead of thinking that now because he's a Nightcrawler, it's made him a bad human being.
He picked Nightcrawling because he's a bad person. It didn't make him a bad person.
Yeah. I thought it was also interesting that Jake did almost all of his own driving scenes. He really was driving the Mustang, including like the climactic car chase at the end.
Wasn't like a stunt driver for
Mm,
the fucking cop cars smashing right in front of him.
well, I have learnt that he did most of his own driving scenes. Which ones, I'm not sure. Probably like the burnout and stuff at the end. A couple things like that. He probably wasn't
You
driving.
get to keep the car.
I don't know, man. You could probably afford a few hundred of them if you wanted them. They're
I feel
surprisingly
like having the
affordable.
one from the movie carries more weight than just buying your own.
Yeah. The problem is with most of these movies, they have duplicate cars and stuff like that. There's never like the hero car that's the main.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have them like in Fast and Furious. They do have their one main car that's just looks, but then they have a couple other ones with actual roll cages that perform, and there's never like a proper one. Um, I also love the when like he gets that car, and Rick spills gas on it while filling up the tank. That Lou like chastises him for it and like threatens to terminate him for, and it like foreshadows his fate when he's like, yeah, if you play me, I will kill you. If you threaten to compromise my operation.
Yeah, he doesn't say like I will terminate your employment. He says I will terminate you.
Yeah, pretty much.
And even like on my first watching, I was like, oh, that's just a straight up death threat.
Yeah. Um. So, like you said, you thought he might have been Nightcrawler from X-Men. This film is not related to the Marvel comics.
But for me,
However, several of these actors have obviously been in a heap of Marvel projects. Of course, your dad, Jake Gyllenhaal, is Mysterio. Renee Russo, she played Frigga in the MCU films, which you probably don't know. That's fine. And
I know
Riz,
it's like a Norse.
yeah. And
I
Riz,
only know that because of God of War Rag.
I will get there. Don't spoil it. Leave me alone. And Riz, who plays Rick, he was Colton Drake in the Venom movie. He's a instead of being a guy that's just kind of broke and has no money, he's like one of the richest people in the world in Venom. Big juxtaposition, over the 4 years of filmmaking. It's also Riz's favorite movie role after Four Lions, which came out in 2010. This is one of like two movies. I think it's two. There's probably more. But there was a movie called Michael Mann's Collateral in 2004 that came out 10 years earlier. That was also that movie was shot on both digital and film. This movie was as well. I'm not even sure how you film a movie both digitally and on film. I guess you just take multiple takes of everything. Like, can a camera do both digital and film at the same time? I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, just have two cameras.
I suppose so. Does that work like that? Maybe. But I just thought it was interesting that it was shot on both digital and film. I don't know whether the Blu-ray's the film version or not, but I know that because it's shot on film, we have the potential for a beautiful 4K transfer that I need desperately in my life. I had to track down the Blu-ray the other night because I didn't have it, and I need it.
You do now?
It is in the mail on its way. I watched it on Stan last night, but I have to own this movie. It's one of my favorites. I can't have bloody Captain Marvel on my shelf but not have Nightcrawler. Like, I feel like I'm doing a disservice. So, in terms of is that the last of our thoughts on Nightcrawler? Just before I dive into some other movie news, real quick, because
yeah, essentially that's.
I love it, man. Lou Bloom is literally me.
Yeah, no, I love it too.
I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. All right then. Well, I guess we'll dive in because we have some local news today. Difficult news to hear, because this is really local news for Adelaide. Do you know the cinema Mercury, like Mercury Cinema? Maybe.
Company?
Yeah,
Or
the
is that
company Mercury Cinema.
no?
Because in Victoria we got like Sun Cinema, and then you got your big ones like Hoyts and Gold Class and all that stuff. Uh, well, Adelaide has a chain of cinemas called Mercury Cinemas, and they are facing closure. They are completely shutting down because of funding cuts. As all of it is repercussions of COVID-19 and what happened with that. They
Oh, no, actually, I know where one of the Mercury cinemas is.
Yeah, no, the entire
My local one
chain.
is a Hoyt, so I don't care.
Yeah, no, well, the entire chain, it's collapsing due to COVID restrictions and shit, and the cinema being exemptly strict on like don't come in unless you've had your COVID shots and all this stuff, and they're just suffering and it's falling apart and they're closing all of them, which sucks for us. One less place we can go to watch movies and stuff. Um, uh, yeah, apparently after cinema like COVID-19 hit, cinema goers just disappeared. And the organization was eventually granted an emergency 300,000 from like the Liberal state government. But apparently it was never going to be enough, and yeah, they just were going under. They were asking for more and more money. I mean, at one point recently they asked for 700,000 just to meet operational costs. Yeah, it's going away. Unfortunately, it's sad day for movie news in Australia. Um, on the other side of things, we'll go over to the big mouse. Disney and Star Wars. Fuck. Because we loved the last trilogy so much, we couldn't be
We're all
happier.
loving the shows.
What's that?
We're all loving the shows as well.
Yeah, of course. I don't
Like
mind the
every time
Mandalorian.
I fucking blink, they're coming out with a new one.
Yeah, there's like 11 or 12 episodes of Andor that I haven't seen yet. So much to catch up on. Because we love them so much, apparently a new Star Wars movie slate is to ramp up in the next 5 years, according to like Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm and Star Wars.
Have you watched any of Andor?
No, that's what I was just saying.
I haven't either.
There's heaps. Apparently, it's pretty good. It's like the best thing that's been Star Wars.
Funny, I was about to say my girlfriend is like she watches all those Star Wars things, and she's very like uncritical.
Yeah.
But she said Andor was terrible.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I've been hearing so many things.
Kenobi, so you gotta know that Andor has to be bad.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, the problem is, I don't know if you know anything about Andor. Andor is a secondary character in Star Wars Rogue One, and
I haven't seen Rogue One.
Well, the whole deal with Rogue One is we're gonna show the team of people that got the Death Star plans to Princess Leia, so that the first
I understand the premise.
movie makes sense. But in that, they talk about how basically the team died trying to get the plans there. So by the end of the movie, you know that everybody's going to die. You're not going to see them again, including Andor. It's not supposed to be a big surprise. Like, you know it's coming, but how it's done and how it's shown, I won't give away. But knowing who that character is, and he wasn't really that interesting in the movie, and then you've seen how his ultimate fate. The idea of we're doing a TV show with Andor, it's like, why? Who wants to see this? Like, I didn't want to see a Han Solo movie. God damn it. Han Solo movie. Spin-off movie or something.
It's called Solo.
I know, Solo. Yeah, I didn't want to see that,
But
let
you
alone
love
Andor.
the Book of Boba Fett.
No, I can't. Don't even put words in my mouth. I couldn't stand it. I love the actor. He's been in some really good stuff before, but no. So yeah, apparently
like fucking 40 years is too old for the role. Like 40 years older than he probably should be.
So speaking of being too old for the role, and about Harrison Ford. Uh, you love Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah, I love the
I
first
really love him.
three.
I wish we could have talked about him a bit more, but he is going to be there. The 80-year-old actor will be there for Indiana Jones 5. Um, but apparently, and it's just been announced. When was this? 2 days ago. So for people listening, maybe about a week ago. That he will be de-aged to fight Nazis. I don't know how I feel about this. Apparently, they're only going to de-age him to look like he's maybe 40 something. But doing stuff like this is so hard to pull off, especially for an entire movie. This could be very distracting. I know
He
technology is getting
already
better,
fought
but
Nazis.
I know he's fought Nazis over and over, but he wants to fight Nazis again, so he's going to be de-aged. I don't know if Spielberg's returning to direct this. I doubt it. Spielberg's probably 110 years old himself. And I don't know why he's so amped up to just do another Indiana Jones movie.
Maybe because Indiana Jones is the coolest.
I know, but Han Solo was cool too, but he just wanted out straight away. But he's like, nah, Indiana Jones 5. I'm 80 years old, but let's do it. Let's do it. Like, I'm surprised the man isn't on a cane trying to get around. How is he going to be doing his own stunts? He's really going to have to be like archaeological focused in the movie. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the idea of de-aging him, because it's something like you can do it, but you need years and years of working on the film visually to get it to look right. Because it can, but you need to.
Yeah, it depends how much they plan to de-age him, because
Yeah.
like I guess combined with like really heavy like makeup and stuff, you could probably make him look pretty young. Like in Better Call Saul, they do a pretty good job of making the characters look younger than they were in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I just don't think that's the case with what they're doing. I think they're going to try and just digitally cover his face the entire time. It's a weird era in Hollywood that we're in.
Well, I mean, as long as they don't get the CGI artist from She-Hulk.
Well, that's my problem. If they've only got like a year or something of visual effects time, I don't know if it's going to be enough. I mean, hopefully
It's only like an hour-long movie. How long can it take?
a long, long, long time. A long time, man. I've seen enough of the stuff to know how painstakingly long and hard it is. I mean, the best stuff we see is honestly deep fakes on the internet. Just deep fake technology rather than just trying to create a CG model of someone's face and get it to work. I mean, they proved that with Star Wars doing Luke Skywalker's face, that it can look better if you deep fake it. But again, even with that, they take time. You know, they take lots and lots of time to be able to do those deep fakes that might not be available for this movie. And I hope that if this is really the direction they're taking it in, that they're going to take as much time as they possibly need, because I don't care about the movie coming out next year or the year after and just having Indiana Jones 5 because I need it in my life right now. I care about 20 years from now. I hope that this movie is the best it could possibly be for its time, and that it looks like it's going to hold up, rather than just the quick flash in the pan of, oh yeah, we've seen Indiana Jones and we're talking about that for a week and then it's just over. Because it's about the longevity. Like, I can go back over and over to those original 3 and just watch the hell out of them.
That original 4.
3. There was never a 4th movie. They just went 1, 2, 3, 5. You know, I know how to count. Do you? Because it never happened. Outside of that, we also had a really sad passing away of a beloved animated character, actor, VO actor, in Kevin Conroy. Now, you might not know who that is. Maybe not.
He voiced Batman in the animated.
Yes, he did. He was Batman, to the point that if I picked up a Batman comic book, it was his name that I read, like, or his voice I heard when I read those lines. He's the voice in the Arkham games. He did like hundreds of animated movies in term like I think it was like 177 episodes of television and like 15 animated movies or something like that. And then yeah, all the Arkham games. He has played Batman for over 30 years. So if anyone can say I'm Batman, it's him. And I think out of everyone that's said I'm Batman, he has said it the best because he says it with such conviction. It's incredible. If you, like, I I get goosebumps every time I find the scene from the animated series where he says I'm Batman. It's great. But unfortunately, he died after a very short battle with cancer. I think he was only 66. I would have to check again. Real quick. Yeah, he was only 66, and the man was ready to be doing more Batman work. He was not done, and the news is really coming out of left field. A bit like with what happened with Chadwick Boseman. 1 second they're there and then they're gone, and yeah, dude, it ripped my heart out. It really ruined my day at work. I'm thinking, shit, man, Batman is gone. I'm never gonna hear that man's voice in any animated thing or video game again. Like it's just done.
Could just replay him.
What's that?
Could just replay him if you want to hear his voice again.
I do. I was playing the Arkham games the other night, and I'm just thinking about it. You know, and yeah, he was good. Not only because he did Batman for 30 years. Unlike every actor that's ever played him, he's made this character like his life. He understood the character for exactly what he was and why people absolutely love him, which just added to it. Like, you'd go to some sort of con and ask him a question and he would know exactly what comic books you're talking about and maybe even know more than you about Batman. I think it was just amazing. And unfortunately he's gone. We still have Mark Hamill's Joker, but it's not the same. We'll never have that dynamic duo again, should we say, of Mark Hamill's Joker and Kevin Conroy's Batman, which sucks. It really sucks, because apparently he wasn't just a talent in what he did. He was a genuinely nice bloke from everything I've seen and heard. It's a shame I never got to meet him, but you know, I live in Australia and it's just not really in the cards for me. But yeah, in honor of that, I'd love to check out an animated Batman movie of his. There's one animated Batman movie that amongst die-hard Batman fans is considered the best Batman movie of all time. And that's compared to The Dark Knight and every other live-action one, just in terms of a story about Batman and Bruce Wayne himself, that it was peak, and that it's the best. Like, if it was made in, you know, and shot in camera in real life, that it would be the best. Which I think we might check out. Maybe we'll see. We're running out of podcasts because
Yeah.
for people that don't know, I suppose I should announce it. We're gonna wrap up this series soon because, you know, sorry for anyone that listens all the way through and really enjoys these. We're still gonna be doing stuff together, but I don't think the podcasts are really our forte. We'll see. We'll see. I think we're gonna wrap it up at some point, but we might make these not a weekly thing, but more a whenever we feel like talking about something else. You know, we might come back to this when, you know, the third Wolf Creek comes out or something like that. We'll look, see. We'll have a gander at it. But other than that, is there anything else that's going on, man, in terms of movies? You see anything lately or
No.
anything going on? And you haven't watched any of Wolf Creek yet?
No, I haven't. Sorry.
About halfway through the second season at the moment. I'm really enjoying it. I haven't given an update since the last time, and I'm more mixed on it now. There was
It's dropped off in quality.
no, like, it's just decisions they've made. They weren't inherently bad, but they're decisions that I just didn't like.
Yeah.
Again, I gotta just stay out of spoiler territory.
Yeah.
I'm mixed. It has these really bright moments where it's as good as the movies, or if not better, and then it just starts doing things that I'm like, I don't know. And then there's other times where it's just kicking ass. I honestly cannot wait to talk about the series with you. So when you can, man, get around to it. Other than that, I think that's all for this week. So
Cool.
yeah, if you guys have made it all the way through to the end of this, you're a bloody legend. If you haven't already, consider subscribing or liking the podcast. If you want to see more, if you've got a movie you want to see us talk about specifically before we wrap this up, let us know. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Yeah.